Hello, everybody. It looks like everybody is in. So, yeah, welcome back to another stream. We are live on Twitter and YouTube today. So, yep, welcome. Take it away.
Yeah, so just welcome everybody. Glad to see everybody back. A lot of excitement the past week or so around the Rings of Power, as well as other Lord of the Rings stuff. But today we are going to go over the look inside for season 2, the video that played after the teaser trailer played. We'll go over this because we didn't really do that earlier in the week. And Harry will play the footage. We'll get right into our thoughts on it. And then we have a boatload of theories about season 2. But first, let's go ahead and introduce the other members on the panel. We have the Shiv Knight, D.
Hello, happy to be here again.
We have Gregory.
It's been a while, so it's nice to be back.
We have Harry.
Hello, hello, hello. And also, I want to say one thing. I know you're going to Uma next. He won't be shown on screen, but he'll be here. You'll be able to hear him as well. So, yeah, continue with that.
I'm absolutely skipping Olmo.
Do not
go ahead,
treat
welcome.
Valor like that.
Sorry, my apologies. And lastly, we also have V. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Hope you're good.
And yes, my cat Gus is standing in for Strider at the moment. Would love to have him on, and the cat will be in and out until his mom comes home, and then he'll leave me for her the rest of the day. But Harry, let's go ahead and just roll right into some of the footage.
Yep. So, yep, as you mentioned, we are going to. By the way, we have so many theories from you guys. So, thank you on so many different social channels. So today we're going to be just covering our Discord ones. So we have a lot there, but we didn't, as Vaki mentioned, end up covering the behind the scenes. So I feel like we can actually mix in some of the theories so far. And quickly, hi to everyone in the chat. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Chris. Hey, Heimdall. Hi, Storyteller. And yep, I think, yep. And of course, we would love to discuss this with you guys in the chat. So keep mentioning your theories as well. So it'll be all good. It's great to have about 200 people in so far already. So appreciate that. And I feel like, yep, let's get right into it. Enough rambling there. And can you guys hear that? Should be.
This season,
Were you guys able to hear that?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, let's go.
Galadriel's being driven more by a bigger purpose. And I feel she's once again becoming connected with Middle Earth.
Is the big scene here. So what is this? What is going on here? Does anybody have? It looks like it is in an Eregion courtyard. Anybody want to start off?
I think that this is, from a Dwarven standpoint, probably one of the highlights of season 2. But if anybody wants to take a stab at what they think it is before I probably spoil it, go ahead. You know, B, I see you laughing down there. You want to tell us what you think this is?
I hope you said V, not D, because I'm confused sometimes. And I think Galadriel is getting a very good view of the Celebrimbor banner up there, like going around Varagian, because it's a real weird mixture of disgust and horror on her face. I think that's what I'm getting, at least. And if we are indeed in Eregion, it's very possible that she was a bit late to save her friend, as Elrond was late. Oopsies.
Gregory, do you agree that this is probably the Celebrim banner moment?
I think that's as good a guess as any, to be honest. Yeah. Who has an opposing theory? I want to hear someone else throw something out there.
Well, one theory was potentially, I know it doesn't really make sense, maybe it's the statue of Feanor falling down, but again, Galadriel didn't really like Feanor, so it's like, put out there, but it's definitely in the courtyard, and it looks like it's facing that center area. Someone even mentioned, instead of having Celebanna, we have Celebrimbor poked on top of the Feanor statue before it's knocked down. Imagine that.
Oh God, like a pike or whatever?
Yeah, literally like a kebab, where it's like got that and you're just putting it on top. So yeah, that's another. And also Agent Spaniel says probably seen Celebrimbor hanging like Jesus. So that's a quite interesting way to look at it. Or very interesting as well. But yeah, as Sauron rightly says here, kebab brim, but fair enough. But yeah,
You know, as somebody else in the comments pointed out, as a joke, I believe, or they said maybe it's just like a super tall hobbit. In the actual teaser trailer, I think, I don't think it was the behind the scenes footage, but in the teaser trailer, when the orcs are marching through the woods, there is a really giant troll that's also in the background. So maybe the troll has come in, knocked down the statue, and now she's looking at the troll.
ooh, we do know she faces off with a troll, so that wouldn't be worst of the theories, in my opinion. But
No, I mean, D, what do you think?
I really do feel like it could be the Celebrim banner, but what's interesting, I could be way off. Doesn't the background, the color scheme look similar to the other scene in the trailer where she looks very disgusted? Or is that more like, they have like a redder background?
Which scene are
oh,
you talking about?
oh, I think I know. I think I know. I'll pull it up 1 second. But yeah, D, do you want to expand on that while I do that?
Yeah, there's a scene in the trailer where she looks like horrified, almost crying, similar to this. So I'm wondering if it's related to this shot or if they're totally separate instances, and if so, like, man, Galadriel's going through a lot this season. Seeing if I can, let's see.
Yeah, but let me pull it up 1 sec here. Let's it is this one, and I feel like the scene you're on about is. Does anybody remember how early in the trailer it was or anything?
No, I skip over the elven parts usually.
But yeah, there's that scene where yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
So you're saying there might be oh, it's really hard to okay, so I think that's the
You got
best
it.
we'll get on here. So this scene, you think there's a relation between that and then this? Because
Could
some of the
be.
theories mention this could be a flashback scene that Sauron's
Hmm.
controlling her mind again. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's really tough to. It kind of looks similar to the background, but I could be way off.
Well, we can go back and forth here. It looks like this could potentially be Linden, in my opinion. But,
Yeah, I could see that, like where the statues were, or
yeah.
the tree statues,
Yeah.
I guess.
But
Almost looks
it's
in theory, it looks like Moria. I mean, I don't think it is, but it's what it sort of looks like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, it doesn't
Like-
seem like she's wearing armor here. It's more
Oh,
like
correct.
a dress, probably. I can't really tell, but yeah.
Sorry, this is. So let me turn the volume off. There you go. But yeah, it looks. Yeah, it does the best we're going to be able to see that. But yeah, no, we'll get back. We'll get back to that in a bit later because I know one of the theories does.
Go back to the other shot of her. Can we see if her outfit comes up halfway her neck
Yes,
in the other?
that's
darker
what I was
shot?
going to say. It's going
Okay.
more like this in the other shot. It doesn't go up.
Yeah, it's a dress
It's-
almost.
It's
Gotcha.
a dress.
So probably a different outfit.
Yeah, probably a different outfit. And I feel like this is Linden Eregion. So this is Linden here, and then the other one is Eregion. But no, there's a theory that mentions that, so we'll definitely get back to that. But I'm gonna have to quickly do this, and then yeah, but you got him center stream, but then no, we're back again.
Hey, the big boy, the big picture, bro.
Yep. Okay, I don't know. So here we go. Cool. So yeah, that's back up there now. And now, yeah, we think we've discussed everything for this one so far. Let's see. Has anybody in the chat? Looks like she's wearing the green dress in the behind the scenes. Interesting there. Sauron can't get into Linden, so maybe he will torture Galadriel with visions. This is what I was mentioning earlier. Do you think that could be a possibility?
I think that's written by Sauron, and that's the type of thing Sauron would say as he's entering Linden.
Fair enough. But yeah, as we move on here.
All the people in it. That's making her question.
Well, this is the thumbnail of the video, so we might as well at least discuss for a second how cool he looks. A bit different to season 1. We didn't see him in the first one though, which is quite interesting. But yeah, anybody have anything to say before we move on?
He's still
I
one
just
of
see
the
some more
characters.
comments.
Oh, you
Oh, go
first.
ahead.
I was just gonna say he's still one of the characters who I hope for the most evolution from in these coming seasons. Like I was just in terms of what I wanted Gil Galad to be, prior to the show, and I still have hope for, considering we have so much time and space for the journey with him. So I'm looking forward and have a lot of hope for what they do with him this season and going forward.
Definitely, I agree with that as well. It'll be hopefully to see again. You said the evolution of that character, 100%. But as we skip here a bit, we see more of interesting things. So looks like that's Glow with her hair tied back. I know that I think V. I'm sure. I think because you've tweeted this a few times. I think about Galadriel her almost as like a crown with her hair tied back around. Do you want to expand on that? Because that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Yes, basically, it's been all over Twitter. It's very true. It's from the part that in a letter of Tolkien, she describes her of Amazon disposition, and when taking part in athletic or like sports like events, she was putting her hair up like a crown. Also, the meaning of her name Galadriel, it has something to do with her hair, and I think it's like gleaming her being up, to be honest. I will Google it really fast because yes, I have forgotten about this fact. But her hair is very important. We also saw like in season 1 that behind the scenes they were talking a lot about how they added that extra like silver tones to it, like they were discussing, if I remember correctly. And it's quite important for Galadriel as a character to have very distinguished and very beautiful hair all the time. So yeah, yes, someone said it in the chat as well, Chris. Maiden crowned with a garland of bright radiance. Although I'm not sure what garland means, maybe the English speakers of this video can help us with that.
Anybody know?
It's basically like a wreath. So
Oh, right.
garland, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
And
putting her hair up like this, it's really symbolic and it really ties in with her whole character, and I really like this detail.
and again, you can see, and I think as someone mentioned, it's like a lot more Tolkienian as well. So that's really good. But an interesting thing about this whole company is that people are thinking that maybe they're on the hunt for Sauron, and while they're doing that, he walks into Eregion, and that's how he gets free. And I feel like that's one of the best theories as of right now. But as you go forward here, just like we're seeing Mordor, how do you guys think the confrontation will happen between Adar and Halbrand once he makes it to Mordor? Anybody have any initial theories?
Wait, say it again.
So when Adar and Halbrand meet each other for the first time, how will that go down?
You mean now that we know that he is Sauron, how season 1 ended, he was very much like at the outskirts of Mordor, like him meeting up with Adar, like officially as Sauron now. How will that go?
Yep, so the start of season 2.
Well, I kind of hope Adar sticks up for himself, because he's kind of done all this without Sauron, so I hope he doesn't just like come in all buddy, hands him the keys to the orc army and the lands of Mordor. I hope there's some sort of conflict there where, Adar probably feels like he's bested him previously. So, like I said, I hope Charlie doesn't just get to walk in and take everything over easy peasy.
Fair enough. I feel like that would be one. There's actually another theory that we mentioned later on where someone thinks that he might go in, because if you see here, not Mordor, but there's actually some humans that are being taken to these orc camps. So maybe Halbrand gets like we should basically say Sauron gets imprisoned here, and that's how he took the reign to find Adar and confront him. So maybe he almost becomes basically lets him get trapped, gets walked into the walk tunnels, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm Sauron." So that's an interesting thing that here they are taking orcs and humans into that. So that's one interesting theory. But any other thoughts?
I wonder if I mean, we see, there's Anatar develops, right? And uh, why does Halbrand go and, put on this disguise and stuff? And I wonder if maybe he gets rebuffed by Adar at first. I mean, if we think about like the long arc of where this is going, one's name survived into the existing literature and the other did not, right?
Exactly.
And so I think it's all sort of going to be against the backdrop of what happens to Adar, that his name doesn't sort of make it through the annals of history, so to speak. And I wonder if it means that eventually there's just going to be a complete silencing of Adar, one way or the other, and that maybe in building that intrigue, it starts with Adar maybe potentially having the upper hand, not letting Halbrand in. He has control of the orcs, and then and he puts on the Antar sort of face as a way to sort of accumulate more power before going to take back Mordor.
Very interesting. I think timeline-wise, that would work quite well. And here, Captain says Adar will. So I think we'll get back to a lot of that because we actually do see a lot of it later on in the BTS. But Valky, this is your part. What do you think's going
this
on
was
here?
the best part of the BTS. She just right now she's tapping him on the back, just telling him what a great job he did carrying season 1, and that some of the other characters will now help shoulder the load for season 2 and going forward.
Fair enough. Or could it be that she's trying to console him after him potentially nearly taking one of the dwarven rings of power? What about that? Anybody want to expand on that theory potentially?
Do you think he gets passed over for it, or do you think maybe she helps him decide not to take one, and he's still
The
kind
second
of
one.
feeling the after effects of that?
A bit like my dad could get a ring, why can't I not get one? Because we know the father-son dynamic happening there, so maybe that's what's happening here. Is it D or V? Either one of the DVs have any thoughts on that?
Actually, I would say you're both wrong.
Oh,
Because if you see in the background, the tree is not looking very good.
Ooh.
And that's the tree from the sapling that Elrod gifted to Durin. So, and because they had this whole confrontation on season 1 with the mithril and the leaf and the problems, and how the mithril was solving the disease of the tree. So maybe in this scene, Durin understands that something is very wrong with his besties, and he doesn't like what's happening to the elves.
That's Vulcan. What do you think of that then? That's an opposing theory.
I think you would have to have a real keen eye to know that tree and those leaves are looking more sickly than a standard elven tree normally looks when it's not getting taken care of. Dwarves do things better, but I think V's got a point there. It's we still have the dynamic of Elrond and Durin's relationship, and the elf race, staying in Middle Earth or not has been decided it's going to be in Durin's hands, and he's probably not able to get all of the mithril that he needs to save them outright like that. And then you turn and you see the trees not doing too hot, and it's like most of the fantasy races believe in signs of things to come. So when you see the tree not doing well, it's kind of like, maybe we don't stay friends with Elrond for super long, because in springtime they're supposed to fade. I don't know what season it is in Middle Earth, but I was told in springtime they're going to be bye-bye, and then we'll be able to expand the Dwarven Kingdom.
Well, looks like Varkin get V is right. So looks like you'd have to build up your case a bit more right there. But no, there's two very good, even though they're conflicting theories. I feel like both we don't know which way it could end up going. So that's a
I
great
think I
thing.
got
Oh, go
another
for it.
theory. So I believe in the books. I don't know if it's the appendices or one of the extended books, but I think the dwarves are supposed to help save the elves out of Region. Like they help push them back, and then they go and
Mhm.
they hide in Khazad-dûm. Elrond goes to
The
inform
dwarves
everybody.
don't hide. That's where we live.
That's where they live. All right, they're going back home. But I'm wondering if maybe he goes to his father and says like, "Hey, we got to go support them," and the father kind of is like, "Nah, we're not doing that." So it's kind of
Ooh.
saying like, "Hey, we'll figure out a plan to help them."
So that's so kind of mirroring what would happen in Numenor later on of whether they should come and save the day. Kind of something happening there, but in Khazad-dûm between the two Durins is kind of, I feel like, really an interesting way to look at it, in my opinion.
And it does fall in line with footage that's either going to play later in this or it played during the teaser trailer. It all kind of ran together for me. But I know there's a scene where Durin's shouting to other people like, "Will you fight?" So maybe he is trying to rally the troops, and then maybe his father comes in and kind of shuts it down, and he doesn't get the amount of force that he thinks is required to save them.
Just like the mithril mining in season 1, where he shut that down as well.
Yep.
I think
Not-
Chris puts it rightly here. Something tells me their relationship will get worse before it gets better. But yeah, go on, Greg.
Yeah, sort of based on what Shiv Knight was saying earlier. I remember we talked about this a little bit last season, but now I'm forgetting where we left this. You know, eventually it feels like they're going to have to bring Celebrian into this, or I don't know, but that there's a whole saga with Celebrian and Galadriel going through Khazad-dûm and all that, and I wonder if maybe they sort of set the groundwork for that here, right? Again, I don't remember where we landed with. Are they just cutting Celebrian entirely, or are we going to find out that she exists and they just haven't talked about it, or is there going to be a time jump? Who knows? But if they stay true to the actual mythology here, then eventually, Galadriel and Celebrian will be going through Khazad-dûm together at some point.
Yep. I feel like, again, with the show, it's like a recurring theme of will they end up actually doing that or not? But yeah, you are right that and maybe would during the third, maybe even in the show's kind of maybe like prevent that in some way or something, because we know he doesn't really trust the elves. But yeah, that is something that we should be seeing, and maybe it's something more season 3 or even season 4 at this rate if we do end up seeing her. And that's like a whole separate thing about Celebrian. But yeah, no,
I think
that's
if you want to show Khazad-dûm at its peak, and not just say it's at its peak, but actually show it, if you have Sauron in the nearby areas sacking and sieging all these other places and kind of having his way with the land and being able to move his forces throughout how he wants, and the dwarves come in, they can rescue what's left of the others and bring them back to Khazad-dûm, shut their doors, and he can't get in to go after them. That's like the perfect way to show how powerful the dwarves actually are at this time. And to me, it's like one of those peak moments for them where I would be a little bit upset if we didn't get to see that play out.
Mm-hmm. So almost like how you said it there, it's almost like a safe haven while everything else is basically getting ransacked. He has to have Khazad-dûm, and that relates to, showing Dwarvendom at its peak. So yeah.
Yeah, unless Sauron can figure out the like kiss crone, kiss the stone knock, he's not getting in. Like it's just not. It's not how it's going
He will
down.
just say melon and then we'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
sitting outside the doors.
Nah, because he doesn't have any friends.
Oh. So he might have a dog this season. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah. Back to Numenor, because to be fair, there wasn't that much Numenor in all of this, which was quite interesting. I know we did have the report that they were deciding during editing how much to balance out the storylines, but from what we do see, it looks like here Miriel's in her dress, and it makes sense maybe that this is the crowning of her becoming queen, because we know it doesn't end up actually happening in the books because Farazon, ends up holding a coup against that. But her father did die. That was the last bits of season 1. And now it looks like she's almost going to the throne, maybe? Is that what people think this scene might be? Or does anybody have any other opinions of what this could be? V, like you said, you agreed with that. So you think it is the crowning then?
Yeah, from what I've seen mostly in Twitter, people do agree that this is the crowning ceremony. At first, actually, there was the opinion that it's a wedding and it's have a wedding to like Farazon after the coup, basically. But because basically the people decided that it doesn't, because the dress looks white, but for a wedding you don't have to necessarily lean to the traditional white dresses that we have here, and this is a fantasy show, so it doesn't necessarily needs to tie white dresses with a wedding. So and then you had the more delusional people saying it's her wedding to a Lendil, but that's another side of the fandom at all. So yeah, I think the most common belief it's the crowning ceremony.
And then there was a really interesting comment: the eagle will fly in during this moment, and Farazon will kill it, and the coronation will be upheld. What is everybody's thoughts on that? That would be quite maybe an interesting moment.
I keep seeing this Farazon killing the eagle thing, and that would be absolutely wild to me. Like, that's the, Charlotte keeps talking about it being dark and gritty. That's about as dark and gritty as you're going to get between a banner moment, chopping the eagle's head off. Celebrimbor at one point in some of the footage looks like his hand's messed up. Like, it would be quite the turn for this show to get that dark that fast, but I'd be all here for it because Farazon, kind of pretty cool.
What's your opinion? Do you think that they're gonna have a crowning and then Farazon will sort of pull a coup shortly after, or do you think that it's going to be like a season-long thing, or do you think it will be something where she's going to be crowned and then right before there is a coup? I mean, how do you guys see that unfolding?
Does anyone else want to go ahead, or should I start off? I feel like it would make sense having it more a season-long thing, because then it's like, what else do you do with Numenor for the rest of the episodes? Because if this is probably earlier in the season, it's like maybe it makes sense to see her maybe crowned and then have Farazon come in and mess things up. But at the same time, it does look like this scene looks very similar to the same people that were in the scene where he ends up taking where the eagle comes in and he's standing in front of them there, this courtroom. So it would be interesting, but for me, preferably, I know in the book he does it straight away and doesn't even let her ascend. I feel like in the show, when it's 8 hours, it makes sense maybe just for at least for the rest of this season at least to have him stage a coup, get people against her, have the faithful versus the Kingsmen, divide, increase, and then maybe have one of the final episodes have it play out. But that's just me. Anybody else?
I just want to ask, we see in the teaser trailer, there was that scene in the water with the beast that had the tentacles coming up. That's not that outfit, is it?
Right here. So you're saying this person?
No, I guess that wouldn't be it, because the dress she has on when she's in like the hall back with the other Numenorians is significantly longer than that. I thought maybe Farazon was making her kind of like walk the plank to her end.
Actually, like the theory I have for the crowning and stuff, maybe because her father was dead for quite a while before she arrived to Numenor. Okay, maybe Farazon had the time to schedule the coup while Muriel was away.
Sorry, go ahead.
And so, what if they show us before Muriel arrives to Numenor again? What if they show us what's happening and the plot that they are preparing the pool, and then during this scene we see the execution of the plan. And I don't know what happened with the eagle. Like, it's very out of the blue. A lot of people saying it's a message from Manway, and that Farazan was killed just because of that. I would love to see the eagle speak as they do in the Hobbit books, and I don't remember if they do it in the Lord of the Rings books as well. But anyways, and then because we have some scenes from the teaser trailer, and I think from the BTS as well, where Elendil and the rest of his family are somewhere beside the sea. They're in a beach with a lot of rocks, and they look like they just landed there and sort of escaping something. Maybe, and also we see Elendil crying for help and like reaching with his arm out. Maybe this whole thing take place in like one episode long thingy or half an episode, and then we see how Elendil tries to get back to the capital, and I don't know, something like that for the rest of the season for Numenor. And yes, I think that's pretty much it about my idea of this.
Yeah, again, timeline-wise, I think that could easily work as well. Have that all play together. And it's interesting you mentioned the stuff about Elendil getting all, haggard and getting into it in the city as well. So yeah, interesting to see how that all links together. But given that we're only 15 seconds into it, let's quickly if there's anything here. We can get back to that. Don't know why Disa has Matt. Oh, this is a part where, first of all, can you guys double check if you can hear this? 1 second. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the very interesting part.
I've had an unexpected visitor.
Who'd have thought a ring could have so much power?
That whole section, I'll
I've
play it
had
again.
an unexpected visitor.
So, I've had an unexpected visitor. Pretty obvious, of course, who that visitor will be because we see him right here. But the big thing about this is chronologically, is that a word? How do you say it?
Chronologically.
Chronologically wise, where does this all fit in with the season? Is this, some people say this is before season 1, this is a flashback. Some people say this is happening live during the show. Some people like this. So many different theories as to when Anatar comes in. But it's interesting though. Anybody want to talk about Celebrimbor mentioning to Galadriel that
Just before you all fanboy over Anatar Sauron theories, I just want to say the unexpected visitor could be Narvi, who we obviously haven't seen yet, because then they can put their minds together and craft one of the coolest things in Middle Earth's history. And as Agent Spaniel just said, this just could be very deceptive editing for a teaser trailer.
I think, yep, storyteller 011 said it right here. So that's actually very interesting because, yeah, they didn't show Navi. They interestingly didn't show Navi, Kiernan, or any of the really new characters. So who thinks it's Sauron here and who thinks it's potentially someone like Navi, and it's a misdirect?
Can I add something else as well?
Go for it.
The unexpected visitors of Bilbo were dwarves. The unexpected journey. So
right, interesting.
It would be an interesting phrasing, and yes, I agree with the deception and misdirection. So yeah.
Well, to that exact same thing, I was wondering if, I mean, again, this gets into the whole, like, what is the show doing with the timeline and everything? But we do see an image of what's Gandalf's character called in this, the Stranger. We do see a shot of the Stranger, and I wonder how that's going to fit in. I mean, that could be an unexpected visitor. Again, back to the sort of, we're the unexpected visitor, the Gandalf or the dwarves. Who knows what Tolkien meant by that specifically? But that's something to consider as well.
while you guys talk about it, I'll actually do a poll for the chat. But yeah, a stranger is another one. People mentioned Kirdan as well. So yeah, D, who do you think it could be?
I think I got a theory brewing now. In this scene, when they show Galadriel, it does look, unless I'm wrong again, it looks similar to the scene with her screaming from the trailer. So I wonder if he says unexpected visitor and she has like some crazy like vision or flashback to like it being Sauron, Halbrand, whatever. And like, because it kind of looks red, and I remember there's like some of her visions did have like that red tint to it. So I don't know. Could be way off again, but
No, I think you actually might be onto something, because let me actually pull up what you're on about here.
because there's that like light next to her, and I think the light's in the shot where she's screaming.
Yeah, let's find that. First of all, let's find this bloody shot again. Because it's literally, the annoying thing is it's about 0.5 seconds into it. There you go. So you're thinking here, and these two are related some way, basically.
Yeah, you see that light, and then when you see the picture of Galadriel here, I'm pretty sure there's the same light behind her.
Ooh, look at this. Yeah, this is, I think, the best way. Same, seems like the same costume, same dress on.
Yeah, the dress.
Yeah. So do you think this is her, the other shot of her looking at it? Then a second later, after she looks at it, she gets like crazy or something, or like, if this is indeed about Sauron, Celebrimbor like mentions it, and then she just gets a flashback, or like a crazy, like, oh my god, something Sauron related that she sees right there. Almost like, do you know what? Actually, no, that's actually not actually a good comparison, but yeah, it's interesting to see. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? About Dee's theory?
I mean, the only thing that he's like, we had a visitor, and then she looks up and sees something so horrific. It could be Celebrimbor's initial plans for what the doors of Durin are supposed to look like before Narvi can come in and save the day and tell him how cool this other thing could be, and what you're doing is trash. But don't worry, we'll put your name on the door as well. I also want to just say real quick, because we jumped to Narvi because that's just who I wanted to talk about. But in season 1, Celebrimbor tells Elrond that it looks like your buddy is ducking me all the time, basically. I don't know if he's hiding something or whatever, but like, they're not interacting. And we've seen a clip now of Celebrimbor and Durin the Fourth in the same area. So maybe he's the unexpected visitor that leads him to, he's like, hey, I don't have time to do whatever you're doing. I'm trying to save your race. But if you want to make something pretty, I know this other guy named Narvi, and maybe he can hook you up. So maybe that's kind of how he gets introed to Narvi.
Can't hear you, Harry.
Sorry,
We can see you
thank
scrolling. There you go.
No, I was saying, yeah, I was scrolling saying, was it in the BTS or was it in the trailer where we actually see Celebrimbor and Durin the Fourth meet up again? So yeah, I think like that could be related to it, and it being Navi related. So yeah, very interesting. Let's see what the chat is saying. Okay, 60% Sauron, 17% Navi, 14% Kirdan, and then 11% the stranger. So yeah, looks like everybody's still quite rooted in on it being Sauron. And again, it could make sense. Sorry, that makes the most sense, but as Sauron, funnily enough, said here, trailers always misdirect us. So that is an interesting thing right there. And just for time, we will go skip ahead a bit. I know there's a lot of stuff on Rune, but not much that you have all this.
Ooh, I
We
think I
don't
got
have
another.
sound.
Pardon? No sound?
Yes, no
Okay,
sound.
I'll
At least
fix
for
that.
me.
There you go. It will work now. But yeah,
That
The
works.
set is almost too scary to go into. Don't look.
this is the very interesting one. So, Volk, I think you mentioned it first. What can you see in the background here behind Isildur? What's these little prop things right here? Could it potentially be spiders, mini spiders?
Well, the only spiders I know about are sexy ones, so it couldn't be that, right? No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, everybody's done their internet detective work and zoomed in on this as much as they possibly can, and it definitely seems like we're getting a proper Shelob this season, which would be pretty awesome to see, and hopefully they do it right. But I got high hopes, and I know that Maxim Baldry's an actor, but he looks very excited and happy to be showing this off. Plus, for how secretive
Too scary
Amazon is as a
to go
company,
into. Kid, don't look.
for him to be able to have something in the background that is sort of leakish is probably a pretty cool moment for him too to be able to film.
Can't hear you again, Harry.
Sorry. Yeah. Now, I was saying 100%. I agree that yeah, it's again this whole thing showed how much they're showing. First of all, for this season, and yeah, as storyteller says here, it's Shelob's lair. Anybody else got anything to mention about this potentially being Shelob's lair? Cool. All right, we'll move on here then. This is actually we'll get to it in a second. This is the Feanor statue, of course. Back to our theory earlier, where Celebrimbor might be poked right on top of his head. So that'd be quite unfortunate. And then we get to see a lot of, Sophia Nonvetti at work with all the singing. Is this maybe more dwarves dying?
Harry, is it all right if we go back to Nori and chat about that for a minute? If we have
back to Navi.
To Nori.
Oh, Nori. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do that.
I find it interesting after the balance with the hobbits was so tilted in their favor last season, how little we seem to be getting, and I'm just kind of curious where people think they're going to go with that. Like, what is her function in this?
Do you want me to first? In fact, let's play and let's hear what actually the Nori actor says first.
Yeah.
The detail that the craftsmen put in there is incredible. You actually get lost when you're.
Here you go. Sorry, here.
To be back. I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
Here we are in new.
So that's a small glimpse of what we'll be seeing with all the potential Harfords in the season. But yeah, Gregory, as you mentioned, you wanted to open up about why are we seeing so little Harfords this season? Anybody have any initial theories or reasons?
Because they didn't like them. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
she's just grateful to still be a part of it. It wasn't cut.
You didn't get the X. No, but like I think it has to do with the fact that since she's going into Rune, the other Harfoots, quote unquote, are like less relevant, or I don't even know if they're going to be shown at all.
Interesting. So you don't think we'll be seeing them for the rest of the season, except for the Poppy actor did mention something about potentially being in season 2. So do you think we'll at least maybe see Nori and Poppy reunite?
Maybe for a snippet of it, but like not much, because this person just said Harfoots will be only Nori from now on. Because her storyline is just that, right? It's like we don't really care about the dwarves if it isn't for the three that we have seen, plus Narvi. And we don't care about dwarves to begin with, right? So.
Let's give the showrunners the benefit of the doubt for a second. In Tolkien, hobbits and Harfoots always play some sort of really important sort of role in the destiny or the changing of the tides, so to speak, right? And it feels like for any good storyteller, there must be some reason why Nori is now off with the stranger. That sort of falls in line with sort of general Tolkienian sort of philosophy and ways of doing things. But what do you guys think that could be? Like, why is it that it's important or essential that Nori is with the stranger?
That's a good point. Anybody else want to start off?
I just think from a familiarity standpoint, we have the wizard hobbit friendship relationship in previous film adaptations. So maybe it's just kind of like a familiarity thing. Sorry, I was reading some stupid comments.
But no, I'll carry on for a sec. Yeah, I feel like what Vulcan was going to mention that, yeah, always from the start, we've always had the wizard and hobbit relationship, and it feels like, for me at least, they want to just like build off that from the start. Of course, maybe or in the second age it happened as well, but that's why I think like they've pushed through of at least still having Nori with the stranger. And again, with, as Gregory said, the whole thing about, you know, even the smallest people can change the fate and of the world, and Coco said, and yeah, just having that theme pushed here as on her almost guiding the stranger in the way. I feel like it's one
Sort of
interesting way.
a survival need, because when Stranger departed last season, he didn't really know how to take care of himself very much. So maybe Nori plays that more motherly role
Could
for
be.
him and taking care of him, and also she's more familiar with Middle Earth than Stranger seems to be. And as far as Poppy goes, I don't think they will reunite, but maybe we will get a glimpse of her guiding the Harfoots through the land, because they're in their, I don't know how to say it in English, when the species travel between
Migrate.
seasons. Yes, thank you. So yes.
Yeah, that's one possible thing. So yes, survival was a really interesting thing right there. Then again, it's just fan service, could be potentially, but yeah, it will be interesting to see how going forward how the Harfords would fit into all this. So that's an interesting thing to discuss in the future as well. But
I will say, from a story standpoint, I like the idea of kind of trimming down the amount of focus characters that we sort of have. Like, I think a lot of people's feedback for season 1 was that we were jumping from story to story to story to story, and it didn't seem like any one particular story was getting like the amount of screen time. Whoever like the fan of that was, they were just like, we're not getting enough of the dwarves, or we're not getting enough of Numenor. So
yeah.
having less of certain aspects, like, it's a sacrifice. It's something that you have to decide that you want to do, where you may be trimming down the amount of footage this group is getting. You can now give this one more of their due. And I think there's, the Sauron story needs to be told, and it's going to be the focus. So him and the people he impacts getting the most screen time is probably the most important like decision that they had to make for season 2. So while it sucks to see some of the others go away, sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah, for balance, indeed. So yeah, and sorry, Greg, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I see that Killigorn Gaming put that he thinks that, or they think that the stranger is the blue wizard in the comments, and I've always thought that would be the most interesting choice. Do you guys think that's the direction they're going, or do you think it's likely to be Gandalf?
For me, I feel like the blue wizard makes the most sense out of all of them, and I feel like our leaks is that he's going to actually end up finding another wizard. So it wouldn't make sense to say, like, for example, it's like Gandalf, and then he ends up finding one blue wizard, unless the other one died or something. So for me, it makes sense. It's one blue wizard finding another one, but yeah, I feel like, of course, lore-wise, I think show-wise, it would make sense, but I feel like they've kind of convinced everybody that is Gandalf in a way. So it feels like it would be a bit of a pivot and like a last-minute U-turn if it is another wizard now, because they always follow your nose stuff. And like, unless, again, because that links to all like, the surprises and twists and turns. And I know people say mystery box, but that's less of that this season. But it feels like, even though I want it to be a blue wizard, and from the leaks, it looks like it could be. It just feels like in the show, if it ends up being one, it's like they've done a bit of a 180 on it being Gandalf. Because even so many in the comments say it has to be Gandalf, So
in the first season, when we see the meteor going overhead and we see everyone's sort of eyes as it goes over, we're seeing people in completely different areas see this. So we've always sort of talked about it as being one, but it very much could have been two different meteors that we're seeing go over, and it would actually probably geographically make more sense.
Could be. Indeed, that's actually quite an interesting thing. I didn't think about that. Yeah. But
once again, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, V.
I'm once again gonna say I will always be a blue wizard believer until proven otherwise.
Fair enough. I don't know.
So that's kind of where I'm at. When Amazon announced that they were doing a Lord of the Rings show, before we really had any other information, like on the subreddit, we had very few flares that we made. And one of like my dreams for the show was that we would see blue wizards and we would get to follow them. You know, we've seen the others. It would be cool to see them too. And it hasn't been explored on screen like that. So, you know, I've had blue wizard flare since day one of the subreddit. I would love for it to be a blue. I just think there's way too many signs for it pointing to Gandalf, or potentially we're having characters combined and maybe we have a Gandalf who has blue wizard elements meeting up with another wizard, just due to like the timeline compression and stuff.
And rights reasons, maybe.
Yeah, like, you know, due to a lack of rights, sometimes they've got to make some lefts. Like, I get it. But yeah, fingers crossed. Would love for it to end up being a blue, but just all the, I mean, he dresses like a Gandalf, kind of looks like Gandalf. You know, he's got gray, not blue. I don't know. I'd love to see it, but I think, you know, when in doubt, you got to follow your nose. And I can't remember who says that. Does anybody know? Oh, wait, Gandalf. So all the signs are there for it to be Gandalf.
He dresses more in brown, I would say. But it doesn't feel
it was
like
gray and it got dirty from hanging out with the Harfoots. That's why it's like
that. Yeah.
Blue wizard, white dragon.
Yeah. But just moving on to the end of this now. Umo, what do you think this is? Do you think the dwarves are singing here just like in season 1 because a few of them have died, maybe due to that mineshaft collapse or bridge collapse that we see in the trailer, and then they're singing, of course, the lament for their death? So, Umo, what do you think about that, huh?
I think that's very likely because I'm pretty sure Sophia and Vite says the same thing as well, or within a certain realm, I think. So that's what we can expect. Whether it's a new version, because it's not in the same location that we saw in the first season, it's a different one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, it could also potentially be like a morale boost kind of thing.
Could be.
Because if we connect that with the crash that we saw, I mean the accident that we saw as well with the bridge thingy, it could also be linked with that, but I don't know. It definitely is Sophia and Vite's characters singing though. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and Walkin, what do you think? Would you prefer it not being that they're singing because they're just seeing a bridge collapse and many dwarves die?
Yeah, that's not that at all. They're resonating. They're trying to find out what chamber they need to go down to find not Mithril. We'll find something else. There will be no dwarves damaged in the rest of the show. It's a lore break everybody's okay with, and we all support it. But it's just cool to see there's, you know, other dwarven ladies getting some screen time here up close, being able to sing for the people. And I think between that and I think there's also footage in this where she's like hanging out with Bear, where they're in a studio.
Yes.
So she's like, you know, another track for the CD, hopefully. Hopefully not just one. Hopefully there's a couple songs that we get from the dwarves.
You're going to discover even more wonderful things to do.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I didn't volume is on. But yeah, no, I agree that there could be a lot more coming from that. So yeah, that'll be pretty much exciting. But yeah, any final thoughts from this whole thing? I know this year,
Yeah, just real quick, I see a comment that says still no facial hair though. She has facial hair down here, and I think in one of these clips you can see it as she turns her head to the side as well. You can even see it in that shot itself, hanging off her cheeks.
There you go.
So it might not be all the facial hair you are wanting, but there is facial hair there. Sorry.
To be honest, I would want some more.
We're working. Galadriel is still hotter though.
I'll fight everybody.
No. Yeah. You're crushing for dwarvish women. It's not. We're not the same.
Yeah, we are not the same.
Fair enough.
I got one more theory for Numenor that I'm brewing up.
Go for it.
Aarion was with the Palantir at the end of the season. What if she sees that Isildur is still alive, and that causes some kind of rift of like, hey, we got to go back to Middle Earth, and there's some kind of, I don't know, strife over that, and that kind of helps Farazan uprise a bit. So they're like, no, we don't want to go back. I don't know, just a thought.
Giving me Lost vibes. Jack, we gotta go back to Middle Earth.
Yeah, no, but that is an interesting thing around, will Ayarian know that her brother is still alive? It feels like it's quite a brutal thing going through a whole season thinking that he's dead. But that Palantiri thing is quite an interesting link, actually. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that does. And anybody have any thoughts on that theory before we move on?
No, but there are good theories in the next YouTube video that's coming out.
Oh yes, we got a video coming out very soon. In fact, that has a lot of theories, mainly around Sauron. But now it's time to get. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe Aodian snitches to Farazan what she sees in it, and that helps get him set on his path of wanting to, remove Muriel from power and kind of take over and do his own thing.
Fair enough.
Like
that. So do I. His inner gunner right there.
Also, somebody else just asked, wasn't Disa with a Palantir too? I think there is some weird object she has I think it's in this BTS footage, where it's definitely circular. It's blue.
I mean, do dwarves have Palantiri? They don't, right? Not this. I mean, they don't. They never had.
Yeah,
King's upset you're rubbing this in.
I mean, they're not worthy,
Yeah, maybe that'll be an interesting thing right there.
I feel like this is my last time on the panel, so I wish you all.
It looks like there's a fight happening on the panel. There's also a fight happening in the comments with Adar has my loyalty, then the new Adar sucks. So it's all going off right now. But yeah, no. Now it's time to get into some of your theories, and this is from the Discord. So we'll go through a few of these. So actually, it's perfect. It links to what we were talking about. And it's Isildur and some remnant Numenorians from Pelagi will join Elrond's cavalry to highlight the role of the faithful versus the strife in Numenor and act as a time-compressed Kidiatur. So first of all, I'm sure just double-checking if everyone knows who Kidiatur was. So basically, back when it was Tom and Alstairs rule and Telperion, he basically led the what's it called, a navy over to Middle Earth, and maybe they're thinking maybe Isildur first of all will go into battle first of all, which is quite interesting. Do you think he will go alongside Elrond? Does anybody think that could be a possibility, seeing those two together in battle?
I think it's a possibility, but I think that the people that he was with, if they were still around, I think some of them would have been like, are they not some of those humans that we see captured by Adar and the orcs? Like, maybe he's going to have to go get them back in order for him to go join the fight.
Interesting.
Also, that means that Aronder will join the fight as well. And there is this in the scene from the teaser trailer that is Aronder and Isildur together. Someone has zoomed in, and behind the tent there is a head coming out. That's probably Niatal. So is she joining the fight as well? And one more question as well, because we haven't really touched it. So Bronwyn is probably dead in this season, like 19.99% dead. So my guess is that Arondir will take care of Theo. So is he taking a child into battle again? I don't know.
Interesting.
People to be joining the cavalry with Elrond that we don't know where it's going. So.
Right. Yep. Well, my thought was that initially maybe Elrond saves Isildur from the orc camps, maybe, and then that's how he takes them away. Then meets up. Then they meet up with Elrond and then go into battle. So that's one.
But where does Shelob fall in that?
He saves. He shoots Shelob with arrows and like saves the day. Maybe that's what happens right there. But yeah, anybody have any other thoughts on that? If not, then we can move on to the next one, which is the Elven Adar hunted Sauron. Sorry, the Elven version of Adar hunted Sauron for the same reason as Galadriel. So that's a very interesting theory. And for someone, if you don't know what is the Elven version of Adar, if we can, was it in the BTS? Yes, here it is, right here. So there, basically, this theory states that this version of Adar, he was on the same hunt for Sauron as Galadriel, and they had the same motive, and then he ends up actually succeeding, but then he also gets corrupted at the same time. So that's basically what this theory is stating. Do you guys think? Do you like that theory? Do you think it could potentially happen or not?
So is he hunting him because Finrod died?
Well,
because
not for here.
That's the main. That's the main reason Galadriel is hunting Sauron.
I guess to kill Sauron. That's the more simpler thing. Yeah, to kill Sauron. So, maybe he
because
had good
otherwise
deeds
I
at
was
the start.
thinking,
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Unless Adal's a brother of Finrod.
Which couldn't be the case because Galadriel would recognize him.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's like his best friend.
Best friend, yeah. Maybe
That
Finrod's
he's-
best friend, yeah. Used to have. But yeah, any of you other Umo, Greg, Divakin?
If the general theory is that his family was also killed by Sauron when he was an elf, then that seems like fairly likely and easy to explain. But I don't know that that really makes sense to go into in the show necessarily.
Right. I can understand that, yeah. But yeah, I know it's one thing where it's a theory, but it's something that maybe more unlikely the show will go too much into Adar's background too much beyond that. But any final thoughts before we move on?
I got a small one that's kind of weird.
Go for it.
So
me too.
What if Adar sees the orcs being tortured by Sauron in that fortress or whatever?
Ooh.
Feels really bad for them, and then they're kind of technically they no longer have someone ruling over them, so he takes them under his wing, and that's when he becomes like the father, so kind of as like a stepdad.
Wow.
I don't know, very weird, but maybe
the orcs look up to him because he ended up saving them in a way.
Yeah,
actually that is the plot of season 1. Actually, I don't know why I said it in that way. Yeah, I feel like that's actually quite, maybe not say better theory than that, but something that adds more context to it, definitely. Yeah, Vulcan, I think you said you were going to say something.
No, I was just making a poor comment.
Yeah, makes sense. Before we move on, Ring Spectre says, I've been theorizing that Finrod's dagger is cursed by Sauron during his northern experiments, which resulted in a creation of a proto-ring, and this is why Galadriel had acted so obsessive in season 1. Any thoughts on that? Of course, it's a cool theory, it's a bit far-fetched, but something that could be interesting. But for now, we'll go back to the Discord ones. Unless somebody has anything to say about it.
The thing that I have to say about it is, first of all, this is like Morgul Blade reimagining. But second of all, if that's the case, then the dagger made the 3 rings. So there goes the whole thing that Sauron hasn't touched, the 3 rings, which is already a kind of a problem in the show, because he was there like for the idea of the creation, but he wasn't when they made them.
Yeah,
but if you have the dagger being cursed,
it literally got melted.
Yes, exactly, and was made into the ring. So you can't have that from a lore point of view.
Fair enough. There you go. Look at V going out there doing that. But this next one is from
when you don't have Strider, you have to step up.
Yeah, yeah. But this next one is from Nick, a good member of the channel and team. He says, and this is actually a very interesting one. Anata will come in the scene early in season. Sorry, that song. Anata will come forth in the scene early in the season, either with the different face or Halbrand's face, to confront Celebrimbor, claiming this is his true form, or to be an emissary of the Valar. And he had mentioned earlier that if you see the similarities, on the left is the one we see in the trailer, and the right is from season 1, when Galadriel saw the border of Valinor, basically the barrier close down or open up. And there's quite a similarity there, and that's linking to the emissary of the Valar thing. So anybody have any thoughts on this? It's quite interesting, in my opinion. That similarity of them, that the link to the Valinor, and the way they both.
There's a similarity, but I saw also online that there's a similarity with I think it's from The Hobbit, if I'm not mistaken, the one where you see like fire and then you see like Sauron walking in the middle of it. It's just like this eye that we all know and love. But yeah, it is pretty similar to that one. Maybe that's literally what makes Celebrimbor fall for his rules and his tricks. You know.
Yeah, I think it could make that ends up making Celebrimbor. Oh, sorry. Can you guys see it? I'm just double checking.
Yeah, we can see your image.
Perfect. So yeah, that's one interesting thing. Anybody have any more thoughts on this similarity?
I think, like, if we want to talk about how likely we think that is, I would say of all of the particular things, it's probably not going to happen. But I like it, and this is I want to jump on why it could be a direction that they go, which is that if you have Anatar coming in and saying he's Anatar, right? Big part of the, as ultimately being Sauron the Deceiver, is the deception part, right? Most of the elves in Middle Earth know each other or know of each other at this point. There's only really like a limited number of elves there, right? So if there is a new elf that shows up saying something like, I'm an emissary of the Valar and I just got here, actually, I was just sent, is actually a really valid way to sort of earn your way in to a situation where otherwise people would be like, who the fuck is this guy?
Definitely, and I feel like it'll be interesting to see how they get that dynamic right. Because I feel like that's almost a pivotal part of this whole season show. Is centered on what you just mentioned, Greg, and I feel like it's something they do have to get right, in my opinion. So yeah. Any other thoughts on what Greg said?
Actually, a theory I've seen on Twitter is that when Anatar don't introduce himself, basically he doesn't say that he's an elf. He says that he's a Maya in his elf form, and that previously he was in his human form because it was easier to do something, and it's a Maya sent by the Valar. So he chooses different forms to present himself depending on his mission, and that's why he will make Celebrimbor believe him by saying that he's a Maya. I don't know if he will change his name because also they should know most of the Mayas, especially. But on the other hand, Celebrimbor wasn't in Valinor, so it doesn't really matter. He probably doesn't know all of the Mayas, how they look. I mean, so and also the Mayas don't really have a specific presentation. They choose their form, so it could work like that. But also the elf idea is pretty cool as well.
Any final thoughts? They're saying he's been there all along, so maybe he's just a random elf the whole time. Then he reveals Halbrand's face once it's up. That could be another way, again, of how it's done. And before we move on here, there's this interesting thing as well. Why would Adar leave the Southlands right after establishing the area as safe for his Uruks to live out in the open? Sauron will manipulate Adar into attacking Eregion with an army. he may do this by revealing that he is working with the Elven Smiths to create rings of power, and by suggesting that without this technology, the Uruks will not be able to survive the power of the elves in Middle-earth. Adal genuinely believed that his only hope of maintaining a long-term home for his Uruks in Mordor is to fight against Eregion, and by extension the rest of Eriador, possibly in season 3, before the elves become too powerful to resist. So here, I really like this theory in the way that it almost flips what Anatar did to the elves. He's doing it on Adar. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think on that.
It's a dope theory.
Very, very good in my opinion. Ulmo, we haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think on this?
I mean, it's interesting for sure. Yeah, I like it's. I mean, the theories they always get crazy somewhat, but
yeah, it's a realistic one almost in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, do I think, even though I feel like it's realistic, I'm not 100% sure it would happen. But yeah, that's something to keep a tabs on, in my opinion. But as we move on here to one of the last ones, the role of Callum Lynch, a very big discussion over the last year. Volking, do you have any ideas?
No, but I see here, they're giving a list of different elves that he could be playing. Do we know he's playing an elf?
Yep.
I think with all the rumors that have circulated and swirled around, I'm not really. I would be scared to put my foot down and go, this is the definitive Callum Lynch rumor or casting. We didn't see him in any of the BTS footage, did we?
We saw him on the trailer.
And who was he with?
Galadriel and Elrond.
And all the elves.
Yeah. Then he's in none of these canon elves. None of them.
And actually, it really pissed me off because, like, we believing this guy was Celeborn, and then we seeing him with all the other elves just being elf 16 or something. So yeah, I don't know.
Let me find him. He's right here. There he is.
He's got dark hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, sometimes I just ask questions to make you guys pull stuff up or talk about it, but I knew he was in the background. I saw all the chatter around it. No, that is random elf number 9, and he looks like the one, like if you scroll back out or like zoom out of this picture a little bit for me. I don't know. It just feels like everybody else, like I can see Elrond's got something by his side. Galadriel has a weapon in her hands. He just seems like the one that is the least prepared for a fight right now, and could be very, very. He might be the one that gets the okay to die.
You're just standing there while everyone else has their weapons out.
Yeah, they just got some blue eyes, darkness in the background standing behind you that can just easily walk up and stab you because he just doesn't look prepared for battle right there.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a big discussion in chat with that. Karen is Celeborn. He is not Celeborn, so that's all the show has been. Sorry, the
duality of a man.
I don't know if you guys got this in the. I don't know if you guys got this in the chat earlier, but someone said something about perhaps when Celebrimbor is talking about the unexpected visitor, that it was Celeborn.
Interesting. It would. So
he would definitely be talking to Galadriel in that instance for sure. Like, hey, guess who just showed up? You hadn't heard from him yet? Oh, okay.
He did say first. He said in the chat, I had someone who maybe you wouldn't expect to show up. I don't know how to tell you about this, but
yeah.
He's not in Mandus after all.
And it's like, how come you went to Celebrimbor first instead of me? Would be the big question there. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. In my opinion, I don't think he's in the show, but well, from what I understand, but we'll keep. Of course, we'll have to wait till September. Sorry, not September 2nd, August 29th. There you go, even earlier.
In the chat, you have Heimdall asking if that was Selena in the scene with Galadriel and Elrond. Yes. And then Dalbon says, since I have to leave soon, I want to share with you what seems a possible glimpse of another wizard. Go to 131 of the BTS video and check both next to the well, under the umbrella, and on the road.
Yeah, I've seen this before. I can actually pull it up 1 second because good old Kathy was doing some detective work. If you
While you're
look,
pulling that up, I also saw Cedar, who was one of the people that you pulled the theory from, say, thanks for reading it out on the screen. Thanks to you for having a good theory that we could put up on screen. Shout out to you.
Yeah, indeed. So, this is the second, looks like potentially second wizard. Some people said, oh, this could be a body double of the stranger who's on the other side of the shot, of this wide shot, but they seem to have different clothes on. So, yeah, Aaron here says stunt double, but it could be another one. Who knows? Oh, wrong one.
Yep, I saw size double. Could be, because he does interact with the Harfoot.
Indeed. But yeah, again, our Scoop always said that he would meet another wizard in the East, so it would track, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Final one for today. Again, we've only scratched the surface of how many there are, so trust me, there will be a lot more over the coming weeks that we'll be discussing with you guys. But this one is actually, does anybody else want to read it out? I feel like I've been reading them out all day. Anybody want to have a turn? Nope. Okay.
Don't fight over it.
All right, D, go ahead, D.
All right. In the behind the scenes, we see orcs enslaving men in orcs slums. Sauron Halbrand will pretend to be normal human and get in their chains. Marks on neck to track where Adar suspense is. Later, we will see Maiar shenanigans. Oh god, break Numorian bones like sticks. Orcs won't be a problem. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he does an incognito mission, gets in past all the guards, goes undercover, reveals him, gets close to Adar, gets him on his side.
Aren't those Sauron banners in the background though?
Let's. I don't
Looks
think
like it's.
Oh yes, very good catch.
Right there.
So that's strange.
Maybe it's after he has established himself in Mordor.
Yeah.
So.
It's also very
because I really like it because of the marks. Indeed, I want to take a closer look.
Sorry. Where? Sorry.
I think it's very realistic that Sauron could go in and expect all of the orcs to follow him again, and some do defect to him, but then some stay with Adar, and suddenly you have these two sort of warring camps. So that's why, even sort of right away, maybe you get some that go back to Sauron, and then, whether for fear or because, whatever, and then some stay with Adar, and then you have these sort of two warring groups of orcs.
Well, you know Waldreg would defect to Sauron immediately. Like he's been ready for that since episode
Number
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry, could you zoom on Sauron's side of the photo?
Sauron's side.
Yeah, I want to see a bit the marks on his neck. Mostly look, in my opinion, like
I think those are from the fangirls.
Dirty. It mostly looks like dirt, or not like bruises from chains, but it could be dirt from chains. I don't know. I'm hyper analyzing, maybe.
That's actually interesting. Could it look like?
Definitely not a choke, because it should be a bigger part here. And the reason I don't believe there are bruises, it should have different, discoloration, grading inside. So I don't think I'm hyper analyzing, but yes, it's still a good theory though.
Yep. The left side of which picture? Let us know. Heimdall. Hickeys and lipstick. That's what Aries has said right there. Another picture.
Hickeys are basically bruises. So again.
Yeah,
no.
I guess. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. marks, but yeah, we'll have to wait to see. But I wanted to leave us this from Naru from the FOF Discord just to show how intense people are going into this. So from the trailer, you get like a 0.5 second glimpse of this, but we've been able to screenshot it. And so it seems like this is the entrance that Galadriel entered from. And then Anvil, Sauron with hammer and a dart swings behind him, breaks him in half in two. Then lots of dead bodies there. So very interesting to see how the Sauron death scene will all play out. I feel like that's one of the first things we'll see in season 2, in my opinion. I feel like we'll end it with a discussion on this or just comments. Anybody have any ideas of how Adar will kill Sauron? They could just be straight.
I think that Sauron just sees a dwarvish woman, and that's what kills him.
Fair enough. Okay, no. Yeah, but I think.
Do you think it'll be? Would it be a fair thought that it isn't just one person killing Sauron, where it's like that? In Game of Thrones, I hate to compare, but Jon Snow at one point, the Night's Watch kind of turns on him, and they all individually walk up and like give him a little stabby stab.
Bro, I'm only in season 4.
Oh God! So spoilers. But
you could have used Caesar, Julius Caesar, the most famously betrayed person in history, and you went with Jon Snow. Okay.
It's recency bias. That's what I'm doing. People will have watched that. We didn't. Until they come out with a new Caesar flick. Nobody's going to be bringing that one up. But do you think that that's more likely than just Adar, one person by himself, being able to kill Sauron or split him so his, essence goes into the ether for however long before he can come back as Halbrand?
I mean, in real Tolkienian work, he's pretty good at giving credit to whoever swung the blow. I mean, if you think about like the death, when Elendil and Gil-galad take down, Sauron, they're both their names are mentioned. I don't know how close they're going to follow to sort of that way of talking about things, but
That's fair. I agree with that, and I feel like it'll be interesting to see how that will all play out. But I feel like we've done a pretty good job here. Does anybody have any final theories or comments from today?
Not a theory, but just a comment in general. It seems like in season 2, there's a lot more background actors or just actors around. Things seem like they're bigger in general. I know there was a lot of comments in season 1 about how even the big battles seemed like they were very small scale. It definitely seems like there's more things happening on screen at the moment. And I don't know the person's name who's doing the costuming for season 2 off the top of my head, but what we've seen of the costuming has been pretty outstanding so far. So shout out to that person and that department for setting all that up.
Luca de Mosca?
Yeah, Luca de Mosca, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's amazing.
Gotcha. I didn't know we had any stalkers on the team, but thank you, Olmo.
Yeah, I'm right by your doorstep, so if you can open up.
Okay, wow. Yeah,
but that's all I had. I just think it's cool that we've now seen actual footage of what the show looks like in season 2, and instead of just speculating on leaks and rumors, it's really fun to be able to speculate based on what we've seen in actual footage. It's an exciting time in the fandom. I know that the trailer seems, for like the core fandom, like it's gotten a lot more hype and positivity around it than most of what we got for the season 1 lead up. So things feel pretty good right now. Hopefully they can keep this momentum going, and hopefully they don't wait too long between this and the next media drop of whatever it's going to be.
I mean, the trailer has like 10 million views on YouTube, so it's definitely going really well.
I just want to know how Tom Bombadil factors into all of this.
Yes, that's the correct answer. Question. Really excited. I think the lead theory on Tom Bombadil is that in this scene that Harry has on screen, they are in Bor Whites, and Tom comes to the rescue, singing.
Yep, sorry. And look who we have here as well.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello,
Strider,
my
what's up?
friends. Hey, man. How are you guys doing?
Good. The chat were missing you, man. They're missing you.
I was missing all of you. Sadly, you know how it is when you're traveling around all the time, wandering the wilds,
Poor
trains
you.
going wild, internet being all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
But-
Shiv Knight, that's a nice sword you have there. Look at that.
Ooh, I got Andoril in the background.
Yeah, that's sweet. All right, so I hear you're talking about Tom Bombadil.
The man of the hour.
Just a little bit. Everybody wants to know what role he's going to play in season 2.
Do you have any theories?
Well, I would like to hear yours first. Anybody got a good theory for me?
Well, V just mentioned one.
Yeah, like in this scene, they are in Bor White. Sorry, someone's trying to talk.
Go ahead, Gregory.
V repeat this and I'll go after.
Okay, so in this scene, they're in Bor Whites, the elves, and Tom B comes to the to save them with a merry old song. So that's the leading theory.
I mean, yeah, imagine if, it's like some dark, intense scene, and then suddenly there starts like slight singing in the background, growing stronger and stronger, and then he just shows up and just turns into like a whole gimmicky hobbity scene with Tom. That would be definitely something new for Middle-earth adaptations.
I just think that maybe that's Celebrimbor's unexpected visitor. it's Tom Bombadil.
Oh my god, that would be
that would be awesome.
That would be a plot twist.
But, I mean, I can see it in this scene in particular. You know, as they're panning around, you see the dark shapes and the blue eyes in the background. They come up, and we've already discussed they'll probably kill one of these elves, just so you know how strong they are. It's probably Callum because he's not holding a weapon right there. And as he dies, they pan back around. You see the blue eyes, but then you just see these yellow boots even further behind, just walking towards them. A song starts being sung. Weapons start being slung, and all of a sudden the Barrow Whites go poof.
Oh my god! That's well done, Harry. That's it.
You did it on record timing while you were speaking.
Well played.
That was record timing. Well done, man. You come so far.
Oh yeah, if I can explain that again with this now in the background.
Well, as I was saying, you know, they're panning. You can see the blue eyes of what we believe are Barrow Whites, and they'll take out one of the elves, probably Callum, maybe Selena. I don't know. And then that's how the audience now knows that these are a serious threat. And then as they pan around again to show how many more Barrow Whites are showing up, in the back, you see merry old Tom right there with some yellow boots that you can just see through the thickness of the fog. Start walking. He starts singing. And Barrow Whites just start disappearing left and right. And we're like, what the heck just happened? And it's merry old Tom.
I buy the crap out of that barking.
Yeah. Also,
Tommy
it's
B,
canon event that Elrond meets Tom B.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they have met each other. Elrond does say that they met each other.
Do you think that there's any chance we get Goldberry? And if so, do we get to see some other side of her other than the very sweet and lovely version that we see in the Fellowship? Like, do we get to see like Goldberry unleash her power at some point?
I mean, imagine if Goldberry it turns out to be a warrior or something.
I mean, she's I think she's the daughter of the river or something. So
yes.
Actually, that kind of connects to the powers Elrond eventually gets through the ring once he gets it, the Ring of War. So who knows? It might be like that she also does something, perhaps. I mean, there is a river, around this area, so we might get to see her do something cool. That would be also like another extra step that we haven't seen in Tolkien adaptation so far.
And Carl even mentions the real question is, will everyone recognize him? And then as mentioned later on, maybe this could be everyone's first meeting with Tom Bombadil. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's probably the likeliest option. I don't think they would go with them knowing each other, because Elrond is supposed to be like, young and inexperienced in the way they set up this world here.
And also, I think in the Council of Eldred, he mentions that he met him once and had forgotten of him until the hobbits mentioned him again as a way to give the ring to him.
Marcus asks, is it actually confirmed that Tom Bombadil will be in the series? Feels like a sketchy rumor. Well, everything's rumor until you see it on screen.
Fair enough.
But I feel like that is where we will leave it for today. And Valking, do you want to do the roundup and goodbye now?
Yeah. So just before we say our goodbyes, I see Captain said, I didn't see Waldreg die yet. It would be very disappointing if Waldreg does not get to meet Sauron after fanboying so hard over him in season one. They've got to meet up. But if Tommy B appears, he must sing all of his lines in his signature. Yes, agreed. And hopefully they do stuff like that. That's it for us for today, folks. As Harry mentioned earlier, we do have another video coming out about other interesting theories. So definitely look forward to that. Some of you guys will probably be name dropped and brought up in those videos as our source of where the theories come from. But just signing off, going around the panel. Again, Shiv Knight, D, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a fun time.
Gregory, great to see you.
Yeah, it was so good to be back.
V, thank you for doing the quick Googling earlier so we can get the quote about Galadriel's hair.
Happy to be your Wikipedia as always.
Thank you so much. For those that weren't aware, Olmo had to leave just a little bit ago, so he already boogied on out of here right before we started talking about Tommy B. Harry, thank you for being the wizard in the background, getting everything set up on screen, handling this, and also getting us together so we can do this with the fans.
Thank you. And again, thanks to the other wizard, my other blue wizard next to me, Kyle, for doing all the backdrops and thumbnails and stuff like that. So, yep. Thank you, my friend.
And speaking of wizards, who are never early nor late, they arrive exactly when they are supposed to. Strider, thank you so much for joining us.
My absolute pleasure. I'm very happy I made it even for the tail end. It's really nice to chat with all of you. I'm super happy also to see Gregory. I haven't seen him in a while.
You too, dude.
So just like a little super small shout out to you.
And for anybody who does have any other theories they want to share, or if you're looking for other live discussion with the Fellowship of Fans group outside of just when the videos go live on YouTube, feel free to come to the Fellowship of Fans Discord. Shameless plug for me and the subreddit. You can go to LOTR on Prime on Reddit if you want to talk about the show there. But just thank you guys for being such a phenomenal community and hanging around and being here with us. You know, we talk about it being an actual fellowship of fans. You guys are what make it that. So thank you so much. Harry just posted the Discord link in chat if you guys are looking for it. We hope to see some of you there, but we really look forward to just interacting with you all more and more, including on the next one. You know, elves, they say a lot of things that don't make sense, but Durin said in season 1, sometimes you just have to say, Namarie.
Namarie, folks.
Namarie.